Hi, this is Pam from Nashua Sew and Vac, and I just want to introduce you to the newest Bernina sergers that we just got. I went to the store the other day to pick up some thread, and this followed me home. And it's a Bernina L850. It's a 4-thread, brand new serger for Bernina, and they've really done a nice job on this serger. There is an 890, and I'll be reviewing that later. Hopefully next week I'll be reviewing that one. First of all, it's got lots of space, which I love because I do a lot of decorative work, so that makes it really nice. It's got nice bright lighting here. It does have a free arm if you're doing cuffs. It also has, and I didn't bring it with me, but it has a table that fits out here. So when you're working on heavier objects, everything is supported. You do have your tensions up here. They are all color-coded. You have up on the very top here is a little lever, and that adjusts your presser foot pressure. Easy to change my cutting width. It's right here, and it goes up to, I think, 9, which is quite wide. Very surprised about that. And then over here, there's a little latch that's going to allow me to raise and lower my my cutting blade just at a whim, which I really like to be able to do that. You can see right here, there's a free arm system, so what I have to do is I don't have to really work with my presser foot lifter when I want to raise and lower my presser foot. The presser foot, like a lot of Berninas, if you click on the heel, it will raise the needles to the highest position or it will drop them down to the lowest position, just like you're used to with your sewing machine. Another thing it has is this little attachment right here that slides back and forth, and it's actually an edge guide, so I can actually set this from my needle to this edge and make sure I get a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance if you're a clothing sewer. So this is quite helpful. Got the outside. Stitch length, cutting differential feet are all on the right hand side, as is your hand wheel. You can see that over here. You have let me open this up. You have your adjusted here, so that's my stitch finger adjustment right here. I will try to zoom in a little bit so you can see that better. My stitch finger right here just brings the stitch finger forward, or it brings it backwards if you're working on a rolled hem. So it's quite easy also to get to that. You do have a 2-thread converter, and it's very easy to use. It just flips over and it pushes right in position. Very easy, and it feels very sturdy to me, as opposed to having to have something that's really hard to push, or sometimes it's an extra piece that you have to put on and people lose it and stuff. So that's a very nice thing to have. The other is, I'll back out a little bit here. You do have tools are right here. They're all built right in, so you're not going to be searching for them all over the place. They're right here. They're available for you. You do have a little cup that snaps on the front to, a scrap cut. I've taken it off for the demo purposes because I'll be opening this up so much. But you do have that. It's very easy to use. Now, when you go to thread this, you're going to notice it looks a little different. It has ports, jet air threading. So it's no more, over, up and down, in and out, and over and across the meadow kind of thing. It's very simple to do. It's color-coded. The first thing I have to do is I do have to take this and put it in my threading mode. And what that does is it closes the tubes right there. So now I'm in my threading mode. And I will get up and grab my blue, which is my upper looper. Everything is color-coded. I'll bring that down here, and while I'm up here, I will grab the lower looper too. And so you want to pull down about 20 inches or so. I kind of pull it to my lap, the thread, and then so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to hold it with a pair of tweezers, and I'm just holding it over there, and I'm stepping on the foot pedal. And it just popped that right in, And if you look over here, you can see my thread coming out of my upper looper right here. So I have that one done. Now, that couldn't have been any easier. Now I'm going to do my lower looper. So again, I'll pull out about 20 inches of thread. Like I say, I just pull it down to my lap, and that seems to work. Make sure it's not caught on anything. Put it over the port and just step on the foot pedal. And if you look over here, there it is. That's what my loopers are done. They're threaded. I mean, you know, whoosh whoosh. I'm going to make sure I unlock this port. If I forget to unlock this, it's okay. I'll have a reminder, because when I go to shut this door, it won't shut. Now I want to do my needles, so I'm going to come over here and show you the needles. Zoom in, and the needle threader. Okay, I'll move it down a little bit. There we go. Okay. So again, my threads are color coded. So I have yellow is my left needle. I'll come up and grab that and snap it in my tension. And I'll zoom out a little bit so you see what I'm doing here. I can take my yellow and I'm just going to follow my threading path. Yellow, yellow, and yellow is on the left, and yellow is on the left here. And I'm just going to hang that over there for now. And I'm going to do the same thing with the right needle, which is green. Green. I'm going to come here, follow the green path, the green path. The green path is on the right. And snap it in there and let that hang there. So now I've got those threaded except for the needles, the dreaded needles. So we'll come down here. Now, zoom out just a little bit. Up here, just a tad. Maybe zoom out just a little bit more. And I have a needle threader right here. Okay? When it comes down, there's a little window right there. That little window is a color. Right now that color is green, and that's my right needle. So when I'm going to thread this, I'm going to be threading my right needle. I'll put my presser foot down now too. I just come down and push, and then I'm going to take my needle thread and bring it here. Let go, and my right needle is threaded. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to switch it to the yellow. Bring that down and bring it into the guide. And there we go. Okay, so that guy is threaded. The whole machine is threaded. It was that easy. And I'm sitting pretty far away from this for demo purposes. I'm going to lift my foot up, just pull it out of the way like that. It pivots, so I can just pull my thread to the back, and then I can just pivot it back like this. If I forget to pivot it back, when I go to put my presser foot down, it will take care of it on its own, so I don't really have to worry about that. So that's, I'm all threaded. I want to start to sew. I'm going to zoom out. And we'll look at this. We'll look at my settings. So you do have a little, you will get a, like a standalone guide that has all this so you can keep it right by your machine. I have one for my machine, and I keep it right here, and it tells me if I'm doing a 4-thread overlock, I just come in here, and I just follow all the settings right along like that. It's something that I keep right next to my serger all the time. Some of the ones I use a lot, I know the settings. The ones I don't, I can look them up. So I'm going to come up here. It's going to be 4, 4, 4, 4, and I'm going to just reach over, and I apologize, but my stitch length, my differential is set at 1, my stitch length, I was doing a rolled hem, I'm back to 2.5. Okay, so my stitch length and my differential are set. This is all set. Everything has a black on the, kind of the things that are like your sort of standard setting. You notice there's a little black dot around it. Same thing with the cutting blade, which I have set. And I am going to take a piece of fabric and put that right down. Let me put the presser foot down. Scoot in just a little bit so I'm not sewing from 500 miles away here. And use the knee lift, slip my fabric right in like this. And I think I'll zoom in just a little bit more. You can see better what I'm doing. Okay. This thing has got some pep. It'll go 1,500 stitches per minute. I can't go 1,500 stitches per minute. But you can see I got a beautiful seam out of that. So that was perfect out of my first time out. Now, I really like that a lot. And I love having this guide right here. So you saw I did very little adjustment to this, and it was right out of the, whatever, just right out. It worked. So I have that. I can adjust my cutting width and stuff. I don't really feel any need to do that. What I can do is I can also work with knits. Oh, actually, I should show you. I can also sew. This is very heavy. So this is very heavy. And I think probably, I'm just going to adjust my stitch length. I'm going to make it about 3, only because I typically do on heavier fabric. And I went right into the heavy. I had no trouble whatsoever. So I did a beautiful job switching from the heavy to the light without any adjustment. I can sit here and work on, I have ribbing, and this is my little t-shirt. And I put my ribbing right sides together. I assume they are. I can't really see them. And what I'm going to do here is, typically when I do this, oh, I forgot I have the knee lift, yes. I usually put the edge right along the edge of the foot. So I'm just going to stitch a little bit. Now, I'm going to tap with my heel. See how my needles went down to make sure they hold in. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more even so you can see that better. Okay. And I'm going to adjust my shirt, pull the ribbing a little bit. And hit it with my heel for the needle stop down. Because when I'm pulling on the ribbing, I don't want to accidentally pull my fabric out of the way. I mean, this thing is smooth as silk. Holy Toledo, it sews beautifully. And what I've done is I have a nice stretch and everything. And again, the stitch is absolutely, and look, the threads match the fabric. I couldn't have done that any better. So that is to die for, really. And it's just, I don't know if I can convey, the feel is really nice when you're working on this. The feel is beautiful. So now, if I want to do a rolled hem, basically, what I would do is, I'll zoom out here a little bit. If I want to do a rolled hem, well, a rolled hem is only one needle, and again, I would come up here and I would do a 3-thread rolled hem, which is program number 8, and it tells me exactly what to set the tensions. No needle, 4, 4, 5.5. My cutting width is 5.5. My stitch length is R, and the stitch finger is at the R position, and my differential is 1, because that depends on the fabric. So what I'll do is, first thing I'm going to do is just cut that thread for the left needle, and take my left needle out, because you never run a naked needle. And I'm going to lift the presser foot so I can release the tensions a little bit. Oh, that was good. Well, you don't really want to drop your needle in here, which I just did. Yes. Okay, my tweezers. Well, oh, here they are. I don't recommend doing that, but I'll lift the presser foot. Pull the thread out. Pull it from here. Get that extra thread out of there. And there's a nice, on the side, there's a nice little thing which locks my threads. And can you see how they're kind of held up? I just took a cutter and went like this and it locks my threads. So I have my needle out and I need to change my settings. This is irrelevant. 4, 4, 5.5. And the stitch length over here is R, which I put about 1. They have a range. This is still 1. I have to remember, I'll open this up so you can see it. Okay, I'll zoom in a little bit more. I have to remember to take my stitch finger to the R position, so that's what that is. And then down here at my cutting width, they suggested 5.5, so it's a nice big dial. It's easy to use. It's very clearly marked 5.5. So now I'm good for my rolled hem. I'm going to pull this up, grab a little fabric, right side up, put my presser foot down, and off we go to the races. And can you see? Let me move this up a little bit. So maybe you can see me stitch a little bit better. Again, minimal adjustment, and I have, if I can get it clearer, a beautiful stitch. It's absolutely gorgeous. So that was as simple as that. And if I want to go to a 2-thread flat lock, it's just a matter of coming down here, taking out. Now I will be taking out my upper looper. So I will snip that, pull that, zoom out so you guys have some clue what I'm doing. And I'm pulling out my upper looper, press the foot up. If you rotate your hand wheel backwards with your needles all the way down and you press the foot up, you can just pull your threads right out, the extra threads. So I'll get rid of the extra threads. And I have a needle on the right hand side. So what I have to do is I just have to look up my settings. So that's, I don't want the overlock wide. 2-thread flat, there, 2-thread flat lock narrow. So basically what it's telling me the tension up here. I have no needle here, but tension here should be 2. Okay? So the tension there is 2. I don't have anything here, so that's irrelevant. And the tension here is 4. So I set that at 4. So I have 2 and 4 right there. These two are irrelevant. And my cutting width should be 6. So I'll come back to the front right here and set my cutting width at 6. This little guy should be in the O position, and it's clearly marked O and R on the plate. And then my cutting stitch length is 2.5, and my differential is 1. But what I have to do here is I can see this picture of my 2-thread converter. So I have to take my 2-thread converter, flip it up, push it back a little bit till it locks into place. It's all set to go. And then I have to reset my stitch length with I had it 1 and make that about 2.5. I like it a little bit longer than 2.5. That's just my thing. And I will take my fabric. I have some little Halloween fabric. And you can do it right sides together, wrong sides together. It just depends on the effect you're looking for. I'll put my guideline right over. I'll put this right here. Yeah, that's good. So I have my little guide. Go ahead and stitch. I haven't done this on this machine yet, so we'll see what happens. Okay, I did all the settings that they said to do. Let me zoom in a little bit. I did all the settings they said to do. This stitch, though, isn't done till you pull it like this. And then that's a flat lock. You have a nice flat stitch with a very flat seam, so especially when you're sewing something thick. But also, you can use it to weave ribbons in and out of. You can use it to put color block kind of thing, put different things together. So, and you saw very minimal fussing around with it. Follow the guide, change the thread, and everything worked beautifully. So this is the 4-thread version of the new Bernina serger that they just came out, the 850. And then the 890, when I go return this, when it goes back to its home, temporary home we hope, because it's waiting to visit you guys, I will pick up the 890 and show you that. That's quite a bit different. Think of computerized Bernina sewing machine. There, you're up there, your computerized Bernina serger, and it's quite impressive. So we will see you hopefully next week. I will zoom out so you can see the whole thing again. There it is in all its glory. And I have to say, it's a very impressive serger. They've always made a good serger. It just hasn't been the easiest to thread. I think they've overcome it. Finally, they've overcome it. This is quite simple and just not it's a stress-free experience. So we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.